I mean, it's true that you have to treat yourself with kindness and take care of yourself. Why in the process, and emotionally, physically, everything. And you have to be in a good place to heal and let your everything. I mean, I've been learning so much about the nervous system.
Yeah. Oh, I bet.
I want to inspire other stay-at-home moms that feel like they do have a dream in their heart, and they're, that's outside the four walls of their home.
Yeah.
To go for it and to pray and just do it and show your children that you can do other things besides just motherhood.
Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inner Work, the Collective Growth Podcast. I'm so excited to be here today with my amazing friend, Corinne King. Hey, Corinne.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
This is really fun to be able to say Corinne is not only friend, mom, amazing contributor in our community, but also now an author.
Thanks. Yes, I am.
What's your book called, Corinne?
Shine On.
And what has the process been like for you of writing Shine On and getting it published and now having it out in the world?
Well, the journey began really in 2000 and let's say Mom was sick for 8 years. My mom passed away March of 2022.
Wow.
And I journaled all through her journey of her being sick. And so when I decided, so I'll back up. So 2017, my sweet husband bought me a book, a journal book, a one-liner book. He put it in my stocking, and because he knows that I love things like that. He knows me very well. And I have written in 2017, I want to write an inspirational coffee table book because I love coffee table books. I think they're so fun and they're easy to read. And so I didn't want to do a book per se. I just wanted, and also I did it for my daughters. Yeah. And I wanted pictures to be involved of our life and their lives would all go together. So when I first started thinking about publishing, I didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Who would?
I know.
How did that even happen?
I was like, what? This is a whole new world to me of what direction do I go? So Lynette Kyle.
Yes. Wonderful life coach.
Yes, she is. So I brought her on as my life coach to help keep me organized and focused to making this happen, to publishing my first book.
Probably all need a Lynette, but especially in a process like that, somebody that keep us on track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for sure. And she did beautifully. So thank you, Lynette. And I'm kind of hard to keep together. So, but she did it. We did it. Anyhow, so we found a publishing company. We did a lot of research. What would be the best fit for me?
Awesome.
And the story that I was telling. And so we went with selfpublishing.com. It's a large international publishing company. So I am self-published.
Okay.
There were 2 different tiers. They could just publish it from beginning to end or also be your marketing piece.
Ooh.
Okay. So I decided to do both. I'm just now tapping into the marketing piece. Now I'm getting my feet wet with the actual book and doing it here locally.
Yeah.
Because my local people are very important to me.
Yeah.
And they've been on this journey with me. So it's kind of a nice tie-in. Anyhow, so when I first got the publishing company, they were a one-stop shop.
Okay.
It was very nice. They laid it out beautifully for me. I had my own personal coach through them. So I had 2 coaches. I had Lynette.
Wonderful.
And I had my publishing coach.
Was the coach like an editor?
No.
Okay.
So she was my actual how to get organized, how to set it up. But then I had a separate editor, and I was separate. But they gave me a list of editors, and then I could go and research and choose which one I wanted.
Wonderful.
So the editing part. So once I got it all done, then sent it to editing, and that was a process. But that was a back and forth for probably about 6 months.
I was like, you don't like this part?
Yes, but they did give me really good feedback, and it was heartfelt and it was sweet. But they tightened it up that needed to be. Yes, in a way. But they felt the book, which was awesome.
That's awesome.
So that gave me my kind of first I mean, I don't need validation, but it kind of gave me first validation in the publishing world.
Yeah.
So then myself and Melissa Brewer came on as my photographer.
Lovely.
And she's such a creative being. We had the best time doing this together. So we basically created the whole entire coffee book together.
Oh.
And in this actual notebook, I sketched and drew from page 1 to the ending page. I think it's 25 pages, 26.
Wow.
And I typed it in completely to the publishing company, and they illustrated the whole book for me.
Wow.
And that part, it blew my mind how they listened to my instructions so well. And that process was really fast. I tweaked, they would listen to what I wanted to tweak, the different coloring, different fonts.
Yeah.
They had a couple of pages mixed up, but that part was pretty seamless. And she was actually in Taiwan at the time.
Annalisa?
No,
Oh, the editor.
at selfpublishing.com.
Wow. Isn't that amazing? You do that all over the world.
All over the world. So I had to get in her timeline,
Yeah.
our meetings.
Right. Yeah. So the creative aspect was a little bit easier or flowed faster and was less tedious maybe than the
100%.
writing.
100%.
I can see that.
And that was the fun part.
Yeah.
That was the fun part I wanted to get to.
Is that what you expected?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I was ready to get to the creative piece.
Yes.
And put the emotional journey and writing behind me. Because I already lived it, right?
Right.
And I'm writing it again.
Yeah.
You know?
What was that like though, to dive back in and look at it through maybe different eyes?
I was still in the middle of it, grieving. And it was healing in a lot of ways because I was really sitting with my mom and God through the whole process. Really, God called me to share our story of our journey of our being sick so we can help others know that he's always there.
Yeah.
I mean, he never left our sides. She is now with him. And I can now say that without crying because I've accepted it. It's a beautiful thing. If I stay in the truth, knowing that he knew the day that she was going to pass away, that was already planned. That was already what he knew. I'm okay with that. But if I start going back and I start trying to control things
or wishing it had been another way.
Yes. And grieving what was not and this is, then I get anxiety myself and I'm not fully present for my people.
That's right.
And so I really need to sit in the truth. And that's what this book really is. It's about God's truth and his love that helps us through our dark periods. God was really there. I mean, I clung to him because that's all I knew to do. And she did too. I mean, my mama was the one that taught me about Jesus.
Yeah.
And I saw him come back into her life and had his peace. And that was very important for me to see before she went to him.
Yeah.
And it was very important for her to see that I saw it too, because that's how connected we were. It's a really awesome book, just, and I want my girls to see our connection because they never really got to see that.
Yeah. Well, they were too young. They were
too young.
To experience it, have an understanding of it. What did they call her, or what did y'all call
Grandma?
her? Grandma. Did they remember Grandma?
Minden does.
Yeah.
She does. She was in first grade when she passed away, and Mary was 4.
Yeah.
Mary misses her a lot more actually than Minden does. I think they just have this connection that's obviously a heavenly, out of this world connection. So she gets a little more upset about it, but Minden, she just takes it in a different light. But they don't know my mom as my mom. They only knew her sick. Yeah. And that part broke my heart because she was such a beautiful lady and such an amazing person. Yeah. And I never got to really have that with her.
Yeah.
And that part really was, that was hard for me to swallow.
Of course.
But that's why I wrote this book, so they can see our story. And when they get older,
that's right,
they'll be like, yeah, now I get it.
This is one of the ways that you get to share her with them.
Yes.
And we do have Kleenex for you because Mary told us that Mama's going to need Kleenex, right?
She did. She's like, you're going to cry. I said, I know, Mary. She's like, you better tell them to get you a box of tissues.
And we listened.
Yes.
Because
she did.
You listened to Mary.
Yes,
we do. We do.
Yeah, we do.
That's so true. Part of the writing was cathartic for you, healing for you. Part of how you could express some of your mom and help your girls connect to your mom. And then what's your hope? What's your deepest hope for the reader?
I feel like with this story, nothing in God's eyes and his story is, your pain and suffering is for a reason. And my mom was a nurse and she was such a helper. And I want to continue to help with her legacy, our story, so we can help other mothers and daughters that go through things, that they're not alone and they still have each other. God is still with them. Your bond it can never be, especially if I know how blessed I am to have such a great mom, and our bond will never be broken, no matter what. It always and forever will be. And even if she's in heaven waiting on me, it's that healing has come along with this process. So I'm very thankful because it's helping me along, and I knew it would. It just took a while to get in my system. But I mean, for moms and daughters, or anyone that's going through a hard time and a dark period, that there's always hope and there's always Jesus, and he knows. Your story's already written. You just have to look to him to help you follow the story that he wrote for you.
That's right. And the sooner we can surrender to that, the sooner our story can get sweet.
It's true. It's true. That's a really good point, MaryAnn.
It's like the longer we fight it and resist, what is, like, we can't change it anyway, yet we struggle and we fight and we resist and
try to control it.
Yeah. And I see this in how I grow collective growth. I see this in relationships, and we do the best that we can with what we know. But it's like, once that realization hits, just turn it over.
I know.
Or even when you're like, I don't have the realization, but can I turn it over anyway?
I know.
Because as long as we hang on to it and try to control it, we just make a mess of it.
I know, we do. And I even wrote about that in my book, about I would visually leave my mom's sickness and her health, and me seeing what she was going through. I would visually leave it at the cross. I kept doing it, but I'd pick it back up.
Yeah.
And then I kept doing it again. Then I'd get some release, and then I'd pick it back up. And then I would try to, help her in ways that she wasn't willing to do, but she was a grown lady. And so I had to surrender that part to God and her, and so, but me visually releasing it to the cross was very helpful.
Well, you bring up, it is over and over and over. It's like that in our marriage. It's like that around our concept of ourselves, around our relationship with the Lord. It's not a one-time. If it were a one-time thing, wouldn't that be great?
We're done.
So like,
We're done.
I can just commit that, just dream that over.
Yes.
It reminds me of meditation practice.
It does.
Or prayer practice. And you're sitting there and you're trying to be obedient, you're trying to meditate, and all you can think about is your to-do list or your shopping list.
Or your pain.
Or your pain.
Or your sadness.
Whatever it is that you're like, God knows that.
He does.
And that's part of being human.
And the beauty.
And gently, oh, I did that again. Oh, gosh, what a human I am.
I know.
Okay, just come back.
I know. And he understands.
Totally.
And he knows what you're going through, and he wants to help. I mean, he truly, truly does.
Yeah.
And I mean, also, I wrote about how I was really mad at him, and I felt very distant from him. I never had felt that distant from him my whole entire life. I was raised in church, became a Christian at 8 years old. I've always been spiritually sound, and it's a gift. I've had that as a blessing, and I thank him for that quite often. But at that point, I didn't, and it rocked me. But he knew that this was going to happen in my faith. He knew, and he knew he was going to refine me. But I had to listen
and be honest,
with him. You can't hide from him.
Like, he already knows. And this is what I'm working through with my kids and my clients all the time. It's like, the feelings are not the problem. But the feelings, if we want to talk about in terms of sin or whatever else it is, the feeling is not the issue. The feeling is just a feeling. It's what we do with it. But we think, if I could just make myself not feel this, that'd be real convenient.
It would, but that's not a possibility.
It's part of the human experience. It's what we do with that.
And you have to go through it. And feel it. And let it.
Episode 2 of Inner Work was with Julie Kennedy. And that was, how do we deal with pain? The only way is through it.
Yeah. And everyone's journey is different. It may take you longer than others. You can't put a stamp on it when it's done.
Yeah. Especially grief.
And grief is, I never knew, grief, it's real.
Yeah.
And that's why they talk about in the Bible so much.
That's right.
Is grief. And even Jesus wept
Mm-hmm.
and had grief.
Absolutely.
Because he needed to know what we felt when we lost such a great love.
That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
How's your mom alive for you today? Where do you see her these days?
It's funny. I took the dog for a walk this morning and I know this is cliche, but most cliches they're cliches because they're true.
Yeah.
I saw a red cardinal this morning when I was walking. I was like, that's funny. That's a cute little, that I'm on the right path.
Yeah.
Which is really awesome. And then the day she passed away, I guess last year, when Mary was in kindergarten 2 years ago, I was walking into school and I heard this bird yelling at me on March the 6th. And I'm like, what is going on? Yes. And it was a red cardinal.
Oh.
Just as I was walking into school, I'm like, hey, Mom. I mean, so she's here.
Yeah.
It took me a while to really accept that she was gone and that I couldn't see her, touch her, smell her, talk to her, because she was such a light in my life and guiding me in such a deep, profound way. And so it was really hard knowing that, and I mean, I'm happy she's in heaven because that's what we want as Christians. Rejoice, rejoice. They have made it.
Yeah. And to not be in pain.
And not be in pain and suffering. And she's happy and she's free. And I prayed for that when she was not happy and free.
Yeah.
For God to give her peace.
Yeah.
Because I knew he was the only one that could do it.
Yeah.
And he did. And I have to really sit in that and not think about other things. Just sit in the truth.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And appreciate the beauty and the beautiful things we have in our lives from those people that brought that to us and keep them alive. I mean, our awareness of them and sweet memories and sweet moments, that's what does keep them alive and keeps her alive for your girls.
For sure. And I can hear her in my ear when I get to Corinne. She'll say, gentle, gentle. Because she was such a gentle soul.
Yeah.
And I can hear, gentle, gentle.
Well, we need those reminders. We do. So this, so part of what we talk about on Inner Work is the leadership journey and moments that change us.
Mm-hmm.
How has becoming an author, how did the process of writing this book really change you?
Well, in many ways, for the past 11 years, I've been a stay-at-home mom, dedicating myself to my family. And before I was in development, and it was a fundraiser, nonprofit. I was a fundraiser. And I loved it. Then I made the decision to stay home.
Yeah.
And so that was my whole identity for a while, raising the children and being there and, helping them grow and helping them be and
being available
and being available
in a way that you can't.
Exactly.
If you're working full time.
Yes. Yeah. So with that being said, me changing my mind process of now I have boundaries and I'm my own self-leader. Now I'm not just leading them and my family. I'm now being my own self-leader to publish this book. I'm my own boss.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's a whole nother way of learning and self-discipline.
Yeah. And
now that it's published, now I'm on the marketing journey, which is my favorite. That's a good time. This is fun, and this was what I was really, so when I did my vision board, I put a big in the middle, SALE, S-A-L-E, to keep focused on once you get there, that's the fun part.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going because you're going to sell God's story. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
But I think now as a leader, I feel like I'm leading up people to see who God is through my story with my mom.
Yeah.
So it's very special on a lot of levels.
Absolutely. Well, and from the outside in, the emotional journey that you went on was an important part of the process, but I also see the self-sacrifice that you've brought to this because your ultimate goal. So there are things that you gave up along the way, right? In order to spend the time and to discipline yourself and build this. And so the girls may have felt a little bit of a difference. And Mom can't be here all the time, or Richard may have felt a little bit of a difference. And so what has made that all worth it? The sacrifice of that?
I think having a piece of me back and doing what I love, and that I'm so blessed and grateful that I'm able to put this story out there and hopefully to help others and bring the light to people, especially now in 2025. I think we all need it. And just to keep sharing God's stories of what God did in your life. And I love that piece about it. When I go to pop-ups and I'm out selling it and they read, there's a piece in there about God departing the Red Sea. People will come up to me and, can I tell you how God departed my Red Sea? I'm like, yes, you can, please. And we chat and we talk, and it's community. Right. What God created us to be in community with each other for Him. For His kingdom. And it's a really beautiful thing.
That's awesome. Hey noticers, if you're dreaming of glowing, healthy skin, you must try Henna Azul Korean skincare. Myung Chong has been transforming skin for 27 years with facials so good, they create the Henna Azul glow. I've been going to her med spa for years, and my skin looks better than ever. Her products use medical-grade ingredients that truly nourish your skin and keep it radiant. Visit hennaazul.com to explore her amazing products and services. That's HANNAISUL.com. Now go get your glow. By the time this airs, we will have already had a book signing for you at Pripy. So Amy Lively and I are hosting a book signing, which I cannot wait for. But wonderful opportunities for people who have read the book or who want to read the book to come and get to meet you and have that community and talk through it. And that's what you're working toward. Is not. But if you end up on a stage in front of 5,000 people, beautiful,
amazing,
well, awesome.
Yes,
but that there are 5 people. 10 people, 15 people at a book signing, and that intimate way of relating, I know is just as important to you.
It is. I mean, planting one seed is all worth it.
Yeah. Helping one person through their grief, or maybe looking back on their process of grief and appreciating it differently.
And they're not alone. And they're not alone. And people are going through this together. And grief comes in all forms and sizes. So it could help them understand, and also with scriptures and what God says about grief and what that He's never going to forsake you, and He's with the brokenhearted. And there's so many verses in here that will help you understand that your pain and suffering are not in vain. It builds endurance. To run your race that He gave you, just to draw you closer to Him. And that's where you can rest and be safe.
That's right. Because you are getting stronger, but you're getting more dependent at the same time. Because it's less about me and having to be. I love it when I say things that Haley likes, because she's like nodding. Like,
I've seen it there a couple times. But
that's right.
Good job, girls.
Right. Depend less on yourself. The Lord's in charge. Right?
Haley is.
She's like, yes, that's it. That is the truth. She's like, preach, sister.
We could. That's another podcast.
That's right. Exactly. Next time, the sweetness of so that in our weakness, then we're strong. And the movie Inside Out. Remember how it's been years since I've seen it, but as you were talking, it was making me think about the memories get colored.
Yes,
and I think they actually get sadder in the movie. But if what I've experienced is painful, even traumatic memories of the past. They might not ever be happy, but if we allow ourselves to process them and allow healing to come to them, the experience of them shifts and it becomes less painful. And I can imagine somebody that's been through a traumatic death or is experiencing the pain it's almost like the reparenting process, re-experiencing this through a lens of love and grace and tenderness for ourselves that helps us heal a part that maybe couldn't heal the first time.
It's true. And, to treat yourself like you treat your children. You would allow them to go through this. You would allow them to be sweet and kind and not talk down on themselves. Like, when are you going to get through this? When are you going to get over this?
Get it together.
Yes, exactly. And you would not do that to your children. So be kind here.
They've been crying for a really long time. And you're in a restaurant. And you're 8 years old. Then you might say, get it together.
That's a different perspective. That's a different, in that moment, yes, ma'am. Yes.
But I'm not saying that this just happened on Saturday. That's not what I'm saying.
Delicious. Oh. But it's true though. I mean, it's true that you have to treat yourself with kindness and take care of yourself. Why in the process, and emotionally, physically, everything. And you have to be in a good place to heal and let your everything. I mean, I've been learning so much about the nervous system.
Yeah. Oh, I bet.
I mean, and my nervous system was shot, and I'm trying to slowly heal that. And I'm trying, and I'm working on it. And I think, also from, my daughter seeing me doing self-care and taking care of myself through this is something I never saw my mom do. And I'm going to do the opposite.
Yeah. It's generational healing.
It is,
right?
100%.
Yeah.
And I want to do that for my husband and my children and myself and God, and live in my bright future that God blessed me with, and not keep going back to those parts of sadness.
Yeah.
And my mother would not want me to do that either. She'd be like, girl,
That's right.
and you're learning. I wish I would have done that. And I've had so many people that some therapies I've done have told me, your mother would be so proud of you.
Yeah.
And that is so helpful.
And she would.
And she would. And I'm, I tried to self-care her, but she did not take it.
No.
But I had to learn that you cannot change someone.
Yeah.
They have to change themselves.
That's right.
And she, that was her path.
Well, and that's part of the pain of relationship and of the human experiences. We don't want our loved ones to go through pain. We want to be able to shortcut it. We want to help them make different decisions, whether it's our parents, our siblings, our children.
Yeah.
And people have to live their own lives, and we have to love them anyway.
Let them.
Let them. Thank you, Mel Robbins.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let them.
In the most loving way possible. Just a complete, people have freedom. People have the ability to choose. We're going to support them. We're going to, with healthy boundaries, right? They're, and love them through it. But man, there's so little that we can control.
It's true. And who has the ultimate control?
Yeah.
God. And you control yourself.
That's right. What, you mentioned self-care and kind of healing your nervous system, your somatic experience. What are you doing for yourself in that area?
A number of things. I feel like I've tried everything to help me feel better.
Good.
Yes. I ground myself. I journal. I do therapy. I'm eating better. I am actually just started a whole nutrition journey for the next 6 weeks.
Wonderful.
I knew that my spirit and my soul needed it. I just needed, in order to heal in the correct way.
In the way you're being called into right now.
Exactly. Yes.
Because there's maybe not a correct way.
Yes.
But things that can help increase the odds.
Yes. Yeah. Well, listening to God. I mean, I've had him tell me for a while, you need to slow down. Let me take care of you for a little bit, and then you'll come back even better.
Get some peace.
Yeah. Get back to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what you're doing is not helping the situation.
And what were you doing? Just too much?
Too much. Just keep filling my bucket up with the wrong things.
Yeah.
Being too social, being this, being that, focusing on things that really didn't matter.
Yeah.
And
might feel good.
Feel good
in
things.
This moment.
Yes.
But maybe are not the right thing for us right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a good practice that I'm listening and not just trying to do it on my own.
It's beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I know. But growing up is something, MaryAnn.
That's what we get to do, though, is just keep trying. Right?
I mean, as long as you're trying.
As long as we're trying. And most stuff is not so high stakes. We don't get ourselves in that territory of most of the stuff are minor mistakes, things that we can apologize for either to ourselves or others, and keep practicing and keep getting better and
giving yourself grace.
It was at a Bible study last week. I was like, I think life is just carrying around a big bag full of apologies.
It is. Well, and what's funny is that Richard's mother, right before we got married, MaryAnn, my since late mother-in-law, who was amazing, she sat us down at Christmas and told us both, you know that whenever you get married, apology and apologizing is part of it. You will say it a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like,
okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah. But then I was like, okay, but now I completely understand what she means, because it's true.
Yeah.
You show each other grace and you apologize and you talk it through and you move on. But it is a lot of apologies because we're human and we fail every minute sometimes. And God's right there to pick us back up and do the next right thing.
Do the next right thing. Thank you, Anna.
Yeah.
Frozen. It's playing constantly on repeat in our house.
You're in that stage. I was there.
Yeah,
it was like 3 years.
It's pretty, but it's really, but all the songs in that movie,
they're amazing.
Both those movies are absolutely incredible.
I know. I loved it.
So what's next for you as because this process has been so developmental? Is it that you want to continue to write? What is it? Continue promoting this book, certainly, but what is this calling you to?
Well, I think at the moment, as far as my, I keep thinking of being a marketing content creator.
Okay.
On my Love Mama, Love Daughter page for my book. Just little tidbits that I've learned along the way from the book. Some's not from the book. Just Bible verses that mean something to me and have helped me. And I look at it more of a proactive way at the Bible verse.
And inspiring.
Yeah, 100%. And that's a big word to me, I want to inspire other stay-at-home moms that feel like they do have a dream in their heart and they're, that's outside the four walls of their home. To go for it and to pray and just do it and show your children that you can do other things besides just motherhood.
Not that that's a just.
It's not a just. It's not.
In addition to, if we have a passion for that.
100%. And if you do have it in your heart, you have it there for a reason. And follow that and do that. And it's not going to go away.
That's right.
You have to fulfill it.
Passion. That's right. It's going to keep.
You will. And you're not going to be happy. No, if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. Yeah. So we better get mama happy, So, but, that's one thing also I want to show other, moms that it is scary to change your identity from going to motherhood and then back out of motherhood. But you are still you and you can still do it.
That's
and
right.
I know your mind is always on your children and your husband and what's the next step for everyone, but the next step is you.
And how do we keep ourselves strong and encouraged and fuel ourselves? Because if we can find that balance, and it's always a struggle or we're on this gentle path of finding our balance. If we can work on that, we have more energy for our family. We're more creative and loving for our kids. Where you said, I've been working on me. I found more of me. And if we don't cultivate that and encourage ourselves in that way, we can't do all the other things that we're called to do well.
It's true. I know. It makes you a better person, and especially to everyone around you and yourself. Especially if you have a calling that's spiritual. And then God's behind you, leading. And it's amazing the doors he's opened. And I knew that he would, and you have to believe it, and it happens. And it's just I'm just in awe of him at times, the things that he does. It just blows my mind. It's just, you just have to look for it.
Abundantly more than you can ask or imagine.
It's true. Yeah, it's very true.
What would you say to someone who maybe has had a dream they've not cultivated, or it's lying around, they're thinking about dusting it off? What would you say to them?
Just start your research. Just poke around. See what's what.
Kindle it.
Yeah. Just poke around, see what's what. Talk to people that have done it before. Start, getting your peacock feathers back up, and just go for it. Just start one little bit a day. And I will say, as far as myself goes with, now that book is a business, it's two separate entities. It's a book, which was whole
thing.
whole thing. And now I have to sell it, and it's a whole business. Process, so that is a self-starter business.
Right.
And so now I have to think about that. And I know I need to dedicate more time to it. An hour, I just loosely do it, but I know that I need to be more organized about when I'm
disciplined.
Yes. And when I'm going to put content out.
Call on Lynette. Hey, lady.
I would probably
need another engagement.
Yeah. Just, and just map. And also I work well with people. I'm not a solo worker. So that part's a little difficult for me.
Yeah.
I get energy from people.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard for me to sit down and make myself do it because I like to bounce ideas. Yes.
Absolutely.
So
you want to collaborate.
I do.
Yeah.
And also to be inspired, and it's easier. But anyhow, but I know I need to be more self-disciplined of creating my next chapter with the book.
And probably establishing some goals.
Yes.
Around really, and then you've got something you can drive toward.
It's true.
Right.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So what we do to close out in work each time is have you tell us either a value or a mindset that you live by.
Okay.
And then a daily practice or habit that keeps you healthy and doing the inner work. So a value or mindset.
Okay.
And then a daily practice.
I mean, of course, my daily practice is always to stay in the Word. Every morning I try to go to Him first. So I get my mind right. Even my children will notice if I don't have my Bible study in the morning. They'll be like, "Oh, Mama, don't have her Jesus this morning." I'm like, "Yeah, well, But I really try the first things I say. In the morning I pray, and then I, do some sort. I have my different things I follow, just to keep me in the Word because it's so live, and I know it keeps me connected to Him. The minute I feel like I have felt distant from Him. And so I'm working my way back to finding His peace. I've been praying, like, just give me your peace back that I've always felt my whole life. Please bring it back to me. And He slowly is, and it's a beautiful thing. And I've had to really work on that. I've had to really, and I'm asking Him, please open my eyes and my ears to what you want me to hear.
Yeah.
And it's on a deeper level than it was 5 years ago. And I am now appreciating it again, Him and what He does.
It's beautiful. And sometimes it's peace despite the chaos or despite the pain, or just it's that peace is available whether I feel like I'm in control or not.
It's true.
And life just is really complicated these days, and for many, many reasons.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, it's true. I mean, he's close to the brokenhearted, and I knew that when my mom was sick, and so I always went to Him, and I felt a huge comfort in that. Yeah. And then once she was gone, it was a whole nother piece of being brokenhearted that I didn't realize it was going to be that hard. And I had to go back to Him because it was a different,
different kind of pain.
A different kind of pain.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I knew He was still there, even though I was mad at Him. But I knew He was still there, and I knew He'd get me out of it. I knew, and I never, it takes some mustard. Yeah. And that's it. Yeah. And that's what He says.
Well, and He was there even though you were mad at Him.
Yes.
Right?
It was like, well,
it went both ways.
It did. Yeah. He just waited for me. He just, patiently
so
waited.
gentle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So value or mindset that you live by?
I think the mindset is to, if I do get sad and I do get upset and grieve my mom, not to camp out there. And my sister and I talk about that a lot. We can feel it and be sad, because sometimes I feel like when I am sad about my mom, it makes me feel connected to her. But also she's like, quit being sad, live your life. Yeah. You have so many beautiful things and you're blessed beyond. And I'm a part of that because I raised you.
Yeah.
And so do it for me. But what was I going to say? What was I going to say about the, I just forgot.
It sounds like it's, you want to be present to the emotion, but not consumed by it.
Yes, exactly. As not being,
describe that exactly, but
yeah. Well, not like like going back to what my sister said. Don't camp out there.
Yeah.
Let it, feel it, move through it.
Yeah.
And then let it be. And it's always going to be sad. I mean, you have to, and also another, I learned also in my mind, living with joy and suffer is the same. Jesus did it. He lived with joy and suffering at the same time. And that's why he created his peace, so we could live in that and also have joy and suffering.
Even in the pain.
Even in the pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's a prime example. He went through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Corinne, thank you for being here,
You're
my
welcome.
friend. What a joy. And everybody, Shine On is Corinne King's beautiful book. If you've had loss or grief in your life, this is really a tender story that could be something that really helps you heal and go through the pain process. And we know, as you've experienced here today, that Corinne wrote this with just such an open heart. And she wants to share more with the world about Shine On and bring the healing to the world that she's been able to experience. Corinne, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And thanks everybody for joining us on Inner Work. Please like and share our content, and we'll see you soon.
Bye. Bye.